Welcome to my stay-at-home workout. The equipment I'm working with today, I've got a 10-pound ball for my weight and a resistance band about a ½ inch in width, as well as my mat here. And that's all I'm going to use for today, so hopefully you have something similar. Alright, today we're going to be hitting some split squats, we're going to do some shoulder press, and we're also going to do a deadlift variation called the Suitcase deadlift. So mostly lower body work today with a little bit of upper body push going on too. But before we get into any of that, of course, I always start with some core bracing. So I've got a couple exercises that we're going to do a couple of times each. One of them is going to be a side plank variation. So the side plank is going to be from the elbow. The upper arm is going to be straight up and down, shoulder stacked directly over elbow. Now what I'm going to do with this variation, I'm just going to bridge up on the top leg, so it is a little bit more challenging. If you want to do a less intense version, you can either do both legs stacked on top of one another, or even less intense, we got the strided side plank with the top leg forward. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a nice straight line from the bottom of my foot to the top of my head. My core is tight, my ribs are down, so I don't want to let the rib cage flare. I'm going to bridge up at the hips like so. And see, I got my thighs parallel, but this knee bent, and from here I'm going to drive the knee forward for reps. I'm going to do 10 knee drives. The whole time I'm squeezing in this elbow towards the side to keep this nice and tight here. All right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to roll right into a classic forearm plank. So we want to make sure the butt's not too high up in the air. You want to tuck in that midsection by making sure those ribs aren't flaring. Once again, I got my shoulder blades protracted forward. I'm a nice straight line to the top of my head, and I'm just staying tight throughout the entire line of my body. I'm just going to hold this for approximately 20 seconds, so we're already well more than halfway. From here, we're going to roll into side plank on the other side, also with that knee drive. All right, transferring over. We're just on the top leg. We start with those thighs parallel, squeezing in here and driving that knee forward, keeping that straight line through the top of the head throughout. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. You probably feel that you get a little bit of work in the inner thigh there with those knee drives, and that's part of why I love that exercise. Just a little kind of bonus work that we get while we're also bracing the obliques, which is nice. We're going to do that whole circuit one more time. We'll go in about 20 seconds, and after that, we'll have a nice 360-degree brace around the spine, and the core will be engaged and ready to go for those bigger lifts. All right, so we're going to hit that side plank with a knee drive again. If you tried a different variation last time and it was a little too easy for you, or you felt like you wanted more of a challenge, feel free to level it up a little bit. And if you want to try the knee drive this time, that's great. Once again, we're keeping those ribs down, core tight, squeezing in here, and we're starting with those thighs parallel. You want to make sure when you knee drive that you're not like curling in. It's just the knee, right? You don't want to curl in here. You want to keep that nice neutral spine. All right, we're going to go for 10. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's roll into classic forearm plank. Tucking those ribs up. And here we're just holding for 20 seconds. You notice I got my shoulder blades sort of protracted forward, but they're not up around my ears, so I'm not shrugging. I'm keeping them more down the back. And also not letting my head droop. So you got to think your spine goes right through the top of your head for the purposes of this stuff. And you want to keep that a straight line throughout. A few more seconds here. Let's roll into side plank on the other side. Last one here. Nice straight line, squeezing in here. We got 10 knee drives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. All right, grab a little sip of water. So today, folks, as we started to last week, going to be working on building muscle, so that means slightly fewer reps, just doing sets of 8, but we're also introducing ways to make those sets more intense without actually increasing the weight, because I don't have a ton of weights lying around the house. So what we're doing is we're playing with tempo and other variations like stance, for example. that are going to make these harder than they normally would be. So first we have the split squat. So for this, we're going to do a goblet style hold, which means you're going to take whatever weight you've got, and if you don't have a weight, that's no problem. You'll just hold your hands up to your chest. I'm going to tuck that ball nice and close to my chest. I got my elbows in, nice and tight. So the split squat is like a static lunge, basically. So I'm going to get in that lunge position. You don't have to go super far, like I am right now, but you want to make sure as you squat down that the knee isn't tracking far in front of the toe. Over the toe is fine, but you don't want to kind of lean forward. So that's why it's nice to take a big step back. You see I'm sort of on the ball of my foot in the back there. And from here, I'm actually going to control the lower. All right, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, up. And when I go up, I'm driving through the heel on the front foot. I still want to clamp down with the big toe, little toe for balance, but primarily driving through the heel, and most of my weight is on the front foot. I really want to control that lower. I don't want to drop onto that knee, but if the knee kisses the ground, that's okay, no big deal. So I'm going to do 8 of those, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Big exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. Neutral spine, tight core, always important. That's 5. That's 6. That's 7. That's 8. Now we're just going to switch legs here. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So we can take a minute to get set up. Remember, driving through that front heel, but clamping down with the big toe, little toe on the front foot, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Slow, 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 slow. 4. And 5. 6. 7. 8. Probably feel your quads burning, both in the front leg and the back leg. That's totally normal. It's definitely a quad dominant squat pattern, seeing as it's actually more of a lunge pattern, right? All right, second one we're going to do, we're going to do some shoulder presses. It's going to be an overhead shoulder press. You've probably seen me do this before in a half kneel with the weight resting on the base of my palm, my elbow pointing forward, and I press up like so. I do 8, and then I switch my orientation, and I do 8 on the other side. Today, and this is optional for you, but you can join in if you like, I'm going to do it in a tall kneel. So a tall kneel emphasizes slightly different things than the half kneel. The half kneel, it's more of an oblique core engagement. The tall kneel I kind of like because it's a bit more of a balance challenge. It makes you engage the core throughout the exercise for stability, and it also makes you kind of lock out the hips, so you get a little bit of hip flexor work in there too, because you want to keep these hips locked out. You don't want to let the butt go back like this as you're doing this press, all right? You want to be nice and forward with the hips, but also ribs down, so you don't want to be arching at the back either, right? Okay, so I'm going to keep that elbow pointing forward the whole time. Make sure the weight is resting on the base of the palm, supported by the forearm, not bending your hand back, all right? Elbow forward, ribs down, tight core, hips locked out, just up like that. We're just going to do 8 of those, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now switch hands. Keep that grip nice and tight, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And relax. That's all for the shoulder press. We will hit it, of course, 2 more times, but it's nice and simple, as you can see. All right, got a deadlift variation here for you. Normally I do Romanian deadlifts, but found a cool way to do a sort of classic deadlift, which is the deadlift where you actually bend at the knees. You know, you pick up that big bar, get up like that. Don't have a big bar. What I'm going to do is use a band. If you have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, is actually ideal. But if you have a band, this is what we're going to do. So you're going to stand right in the middle of that band, get a fair bit of tension on it. Then I'm going to sort of, see when I sit back into that, I sit back with the hips first. I push the hips back, push the butt back, and I get into this position here. My spine is neutral. I bring my shoulders back nice and tight. If I had a bar, I would grip it. I would drive through the heels, bring those hips forward, and I would just get tall. Instead, I'm going to grab only one end of this band. This is going to be a suitcase deadlift. So you imagine if you had like a suitcase in one hand. So it's going to be kind of pulling you to one side, but the trick is you can't go into that. You also can't go against it. You have to go straight up and down as if you had a weight in both hands, as if it wasn't imbalanced. All right? So that's the idea here. We're going to keep the core nice and tight. All right? You want to keep your spine neutral, shoulders back, and from here, we're bringing those hips forward, we're driving through the heels, think lift with your legs, and you're just going to get tall at the top. All right? 1, 2, 3. Don't let it pull you. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release that side. Now, of course, we do it on the other side. I'm just going to get a little bit more tension on that. All right, we're going to start down, shoulders back, core tight, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice when I get to the top of that rep, I'm not leaning back. I'm just getting tall. Common mistake is you want to think, oh, I got to lift it really far. I got to pull it really far back, and people end up leaning, arching the spine. It's not necessary. It's not good for you. And if you were doing this in a judged competition, for example, if you were doing an actual lift, it's just not necessary to lean back. Once you get tall and you sort of lock out those knees, you're good to go. You're done the lift, so there's no reason to add extra stuff to it, you know? So avoid that if you can. Okay, a little water. Now, we're going to do 2 more sets just like that. It's all going to be about 8, basically. May add some tempo lowering, some like controlled lowering to the deadlift for sure. With the split squat and the shoulder press, we're just going to keep them the same. We don't want to rush through it too much. I do like to get the cardio in there, but when we're focusing on building muscle, we want a little bit longer rest periods too, just to give ourselves a little bit of a chance to recover. Okay? All right, so once again, we got that goblet style hold with those elbows tucked in, yeah? Gonna take a big step back there. Well, depends on your dimensions, of course. I'm gonna take a big step back. All right, I'm sort of up on the ball of my foot. I'm clamping down with the toes on that front foot. Core's tight, spine's neutral, and slow lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's switch it up. Same deal on this side, all right? Nice controlled lower. That's 1. Slow, 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 slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, next up, we got those overhead shoulder presses. Okay, the reason I don't introduce big rests in between the exercises is because these exercises are designed to be non-competitive. So the muscles we just worked there are not the same that we're going to work here, are not the same that we're going to work in the deadlift. So ideally, this exercise sort of serves as a rest to the last one in that way. Okay, so we want to keep those hips locked out, ribs down, core's tight, elbow points forward. The weight is stacked on the base of the palm. All right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switching it up, same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Time for those suitcase deadlifts. So this time, like I mentioned, we're going to introduce that tempo element. Nice controlled lower going on here. So we'll do, once again, a 4 count. The idea here is, as you're doing that controlled lower, that weight is going to want to really pull you out of place. It's going to want to mess with your hinge mechanics, and it's going to want to maybe make your shoulders come forward, maybe make you round in the spine, and you're just trying to avoid all that. So the secret is keep a super tight core. Really tightness throughout, but it all emanates from the core, right? All right, so that's what we're going to focus on. All right, so a little tension to begin with. All right, we'll start like this. Get tall, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, grab it on this side, same deal. Notice I got my stance fairly narrow, my feet pointing pretty much forward. That's typically the deal with a deadlift stance. It's definitely less wide and less flare than a squat, just so you know. All right, shoulders back, core nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2. Slow, 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 slow. 3. Slow, 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 slow. We're halfway there. And relaxing. All right, another little rest, a little sip of water. We just have one more set of each, and that's it for today. Just gonna put that over there. Last round of the split squats. I know it's probably getting tough by this point, but after this, we're done with the quads for today. All right, we're gonna take a big step back. You get nice and tight in the core. Tightness throughout. Clamping down with those toes. All right, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Great. All right, other side. All right, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. All right, folks. On to that tall kneel shoulder press. Ooh, this sunlight just aiming right at my face. Okay. Lock those hips out, ribs down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whew. Last time on these suitcase deadlifts, me personally, I'm going to give a little more tension on that band so that lower is really tough. So I'm just going to give myself less band to work with, essentially. And if you are working with weights, you can make it heavier if you want. I'll leave intensity kind of stuff up to you, okay? Let me see. Right about there should be good. All right. Yeah, I can still get tall with that. That's how you test that out. All right, so I'll start down here, shoulders back, core nice and tight, big bracing breath. And from here, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Same thing on the other side. Keep the tension even on both sides, okay? Right about there, test that out. Looking good. All right, shoulders back, big bracing breath. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Big deep breath in through the nose. Slow exhale out the mouth. All right, folks, that's all I've got for you today. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow it's upper body pull day, so some row variations coming at you. Till then, hit your protein, take it easy, rest up,